What's going on, everyone? Cake here from the Panthers Magpie. Just need to get some things off of my chest about this Carolina Panthers team. I don't even know where to begin. I just feel like I need to vent, get some shit off of my chest, because what I watched last night was an absolute shambles. I still can't believe it. I'm furious. That Bears game was a winnable game, as was the Colts game. Whatever has happened on offense needs to be sorted. I don't even know where to begin, but it's the day after the night before, and so far nobody's gone. It's almost 6 p.m. here in the UK, which means it's about 1 p.m. Eastern in America. Nothing's happened as of yet. In all honesty, I don't think that it will. Frank Reich said last night that he doesn't expect any changes to be made on his team. I suppose only David Tepper can fire the head coach. I don't know if he would make a change for the OC job or anything like that, but I don't know what's going on with Thomas Brown. I mean, we all wanted that change. Frank Reich calling the shots in the first, 6 games. It was appalling. It was really, really bad. And I think the first game after the bye week with Thomas Brown papered over the cracks a little bit because we got that win. It was the Bryce Young versus CJ Stroud game, and Bryce came out on top. So yeah, it was like happy days. We won, first win of the season. Everybody's happy, but let's be honest, it wasn't the greatest of games. It was just a win, so we're happy, papered over the cracks. But these last 2 games, the Colts, who were usually quite good on offense, to be fair. Like, I was more worried about the Colts than I was the Bears. Defense done their job in both games. In the last 3 games, defense have turned up and done what they needed to do. Can't really ask any more of them, especially last night without Brian Burns and whoever else. CJ Henderson, obviously still without. We had missing Justin Houston. We've had obviously Shaq Thompson. Where would we begin? JC Horn, Jeremy Chin, Ito Gross-Matos. Is there anyone else? Probably. Everybody's on IR. If it wasn't for Derek Brown, we would have been absolutely whitewashed. Dante Jackson, shout out to Jackson as well. Xavier Woods and Von Bell back was nice. Yeah, Derek Brown absolutely smashed it, done everything he could. So, again, 3 games in a row, defense have done their job, and these were 3 winnable games. Texans obviously scraped by, got that win. Colts and Bears, obviously it was the pick sixes. Bryce Young, the pick sixes, lost that game against the Colts. This Bears game, who do you point how many fingers have you got to point at people? Bryce Young, Thomas Brown, Frank Reich, O-line, receivers. I mean, what's worse right now? What's the biggest thing that needs to change? I mean, I'm losing my shit at Bryce, and I didn't want to do that. Like, I'm patient. I'm fully behind Bryce Young, but these last 2 games, it's worrying. The progression. When we were losing in the first 6 games, I was okay with it because I kind of predicted them games to be losing games at the beginning of the season. I called it because they're tough games. I didn't really expect to win any of them. Vikings, Seahawks, Lions, Dolphins. I didn't think we were going to win them. In the first 6 weeks with an entirely new coaching staff, OC with a brand new playbook, Frank Reich, head coach, Ezra Evero, DC. Everybody else, I think apart from Chris Tabor and the O-line coach, Campen, everyone else was new. Rookie quarterback, entirely new group, a few different pieces on defense like Von Bell, massive changes to the O-line receiving group. Obviously, Adam Thielen, Mingo, DJ Chark. That was a lot to change, and it was a tough schedule. So I knew it was going to be tough, and I predicted going into that bye week being 1-5. I think probably the Falcons was the only game that I expected us to win in the first week. But the others, I Can't lie, I seen coming, and I wasn't mad about it. I mean, they were bad, they were poor, and it was disappointing. But there was progression, and you could see Bryce Young and the offense week by week was getting better and better and better. I think Bryce looked and felt more comfortable. Starting to make bigger plays, was like showing what the arm can do. Passes downfield, Adam Thielen, 100 yards per game. Change the play calling, which is what we wanted to do in the bye week. Thomas Brown came over, took off from Frank Reich. And yeah, like I said, they picked over the cracks in the Texans game because we won. Bryce was comfortable, got the game-winning drive, looked really, really nice. And the Colts, pick sixes, lost the game. But that Bears game, man, like, them two offenses weren't even good. And this is the Bears. They're one of the worst teams on both sides of the ball in the league. They were 2-7 coming into this game. Least amount of sacks, I think 10 overall in the first 9 games of the season. 10 sacks in 9 games, and I think they got 3 on us. I mean, the O-line had Bryce scrambling for fun because he had to get out. The sacks are going down, I suppose. I mean, the Texans game, I think there was 6. Colts, there was 4 or 5. Bears, I think there was only 3. So statistically, it looks as if the O-line's getting better. But Bryce is scrambling around back there, looking for options. But there isn't any. There's none. The receivers can't get open. The O-line aren't protecting. Bryce is scrambling for his life. 3 sacks on the worst sacking team in the league. And on the other hand, we didn't have any. We hardly put any pressure on Tyson Bagent. He was free to do whatever he liked. He had so much time. He was stepping back a lot, getting some extra yards, look around, trying to find DJ Moore. No pass rush. Without Brian Burns, there's nothing there. And everyone wanted to trade Brian Burns. If we traded Brian Burns, give up the season. I mean, season's done for me. It's over. This was a must-win game. I looked at them 3 games, the Texans, Colts, and Bears. It was the CJ Stroud versus Bryce Young game. That was the Frank Reich revenge game. That was the DJ Moore trade game. The draft pick to get Bryce Young, go number 1 overall. 3 huge games after a tough schedule, post-bye week, post-play calling change. And it's got worse. Honestly, I don't know where to go from here. If we traded Brian Burns or anybody else away for that matter, we wouldn't win another game all season. And right now, because of this Bears loss, I don't know where it's coming from. Cowboys next, joke. Everyone, I feel like most games are winnable between, I think, other than the Cowboys and the Jags for the rest of the season. But from the last 2 games, they were more than winnable. We just can't put points on the board. Punt return. That's the only way that we scored a touchdown. Emir Smith-Marset. Punt return, touchdown, couple of field goals. You're putting Eddie Pinheiro out there, 49 yards field goal. With still like 1:40 left on the clock to try and tie that game instead of just going for it. You know, we're going for it at the wrong times. I think we had a pretty good conversion. I think we went for it on 4th down 3-4 times in the game and done well. Like, I know we had quite a few yards to go. I can't even remember the play now. It was like a third and 10 maybe still. A lot to gain, but man, play calling's so bad. Like when we're pushed back against our own end zone, passing it when it should have just been a run play, just try and get it up the gut. Even give Johnny Hekker space. Just try and create a little bit of space for Johnny Hekker to punt. He's been the best punter in the NFL for the last decade. Give him some space. Like, we know we're not going to get that first down. Just dumping it off, little screen passes. Like, what's the point? Miles Sanders actually tried to go to the edge for once instead of just running it up the gut and getting about 2-3 yards at best. Then he's taken down. Bryce Young had a sack. What happens? Panther Nation, speak to me. Where do we go from here? What needs to change? We've got a long week now until that Cowboys game next Sunday, like nearly a week and a half. What's going to happen? What are we going to do? Is Frank Reich going to get fired? Is Thomas Brown going to get fired? I don't like seeing people get fired. Like, it's the first year. Like I say, I'm patient. Like, I'm a Bryce Young supporter. I'll give him time. I'll give him 3-4 years to show what he can do. Very similar to Tua Tagovailoa in that respect. Shorter Alabama quarterbacks. Tua was written off. And look what the Dolphins have given him. They've given him Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, decent coach, coaching staff, O-line. He's got it all to succeed. Bryce has got none of that right now. So do we wait until the off-season to start making some changes and rebuild? Like, I'm sick of rebuilding. We went through this with Matt Rule. That was meant to be a rebuild. Trading away DJ Moore, traded away Christian McCaffrey, go get the franchise quarterback. Who's losing their job first? Scott Fitterer? He's the one making all these trades. He was the one that said, we've just been building this team, building. So when we're ready to get a quarterback, we can just drop him in and we're good to go. We won't be picking again in the top 10. What is this team? I know you can't help injuries, but who are these people coming on? Like Cook, is it Alex Cook? I don't even know these players' names. I mean, shout out to DiCaprio Bootle, a couple of these guys. Echo Leota had a up and down game, but this team isn't going to win anything with injuries or without. If everybody's there, you've got your Brian Burns, Shaq Thompson, JC Horns. See, we're doing all right on defense. Offense, other than Christensen and Chenault, everyone's there. All that personnel is there, ready and available to go. We're not missing anybody on offense. Nobody really key, apart from a left guard and a receiver. I don't like seeing people get fired. I don't like seeing people lose their job. But something's got to give. We need to do something. We need to, whoever it is, whether it's going to be David Tepper or Frank Reich, someone needs to step up. Maybe as a leader and the quarterback of the team, Bryce Young needs to step up. Even Adam Thielen. I don't want to give Adam Thielen any stick because he's been the guy. Without Adam Thielen, Bryce Young would have nothing. He would literally be listed as the worst NFL quarterback in history if he didn't have the comfort blanket of Adam Thielen. But his last 2 games, no separation. As the leader, experienced captain, say on his chest, he needs to step up. Hayden Hurst, he's speechless in his conference. What do we do? Like I say, this season's a bust. We'll have to win this game just for pride as much as anything. Trying to get that second win. It would put our record on level with the Bears. I don't want their first pick in the draft to be our pick. If that happens, Scott Fitterer needs fired today. I know the season doesn't end today. Who knows if we can beat the Titans, the Packers. We've still got 2 games against the Bucks, the Falcons and the Saints. There's some winnable games there, but can we win them? Unlikely. If the Bears start winning more games and the Panthers don't, and we give the Bears a top 2 pick, Kyler's back. The only team as bad as us right now are the Cardinals. They've got their franchise quarterback fit now. Who knows if they push on? If we give the Bears that number 1 overall pick, Scott Fitterer needs fired immediately. I want to give Frank Reich patience, but if he was fired today, I couldn't care less. Thomas Brown's young. He's got potential. I want to see more. I want to see him succeed. But will he? Is the play caller right now, he's doing probably a worse job than what Frank Reich was. Give him it back. Maybe you're not ready. Maybe this OC job's too much for you. Play calling isn't for you. Maybe he's Parks Fraser. Maybe that's the way to go. Fire Frank Reich. Put Thomas Brown as the interim head coach. Promote Parks Fraser to offensive coordinator. Something like that. I'm spitballing. I don't know if I want that to happen or not, but something's got to give. It needs to happen. Or Scott Fitterer, someone, or David Tepper sell the team. We haven't had a winning record since you bought it. You gave Matt Rule a 7-year. I don't even know the figure, but most of it was guaranteed, and we're still paying him now. How can you do that? I know that risks and business and stuff is how he made his billions, but that risk backfired, and every risk so far has backfired. We're getting worse. We're a worse franchise now than we ever have been. And there's so much more on the line now that we don't have that number 1 overall pick. Scott Fitterer wanted us to get that quarterback so we can go and make a playoff push. Failed. Everybody's failing. Bryce is failing. Maybe we're failing him. I don't know if he's failing us. It feels like it. But maybe it is more we're failing him. The organisation is failing him. That's why I'm trying to be patient. We need to move. Cowboys next Sunday. Panther Nation, let me know.